everyone. This is Deb with Four Seasons Crafts. We are going to make a 3D project today, and this is what we're going to make. It is a holder with a special little tab here, and you open it up and it's going to hold a post-it note, and it's got a little pocket here. And the point of it is for you to keep all of your lists, menus, Christmas shopping lists, everything you need for the holidays coming up. Now, I have to say, I got the idea, two of the ideas, one from Stamping with Peace, and I can't remember the gal's name, but if you look up Stamping with Peace, she did one like this or similar with a mini legal pad, and hers didn't have a closure, but it just gave me some ideas. She had some great suggestions, so I'm going to try to give those to you as we move through the video. And then the little secret closure here I got from Jerry, and it's Gerry, and I'm not sure what country she is from, but she's always got a lot of neat little ideas. And I think I have a card fold from her as well called a slide and lock. And this was just kind of another mechanism she created. Super simple, but she shows it on a card. So I kind of combined the two videos. So that is what we are going to make today. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go through the pieces that we are going to need. And I have those right here. So you are going to need a 1/6 and 1/8 inch this way by 11 inches. So 1/6 and 1/8 inch by 11 inches. And let me just tell you, the size of this is 6 inches by 4 inches. That's why we have that extra 1/8 of an inch. So you will see that as well. So 6 1/8 by 11, and we have this little guy here scored, and we're gonna burnish these edges here in a minute, but it's scored at 4 1/8, 4 1/2, and 8 5/8. So truly not complicated. If you have a Stampin' Up! Trimmer, you're just going to count those, not the smallest lines, but the next size, and you'll be fine. So that is the main wrapper for our little booklet. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and these are cut at 4 inches by 6 inches. Then you're going to need a strip that is 1 1/2 inches by 9 inches. So I actually have to trim this one down, but it's going to be 1 1/2 inches by 9 inches. Then we're going to have a piece of designer series paper that we are going to layer. So it's going to be 1 1/4 inches by 8 3/4 inches. Then we have some ribbon for decorating. We have some strips here that we are also going to use just for decoration. So these are things you don't need, but just in case, these are 1/2 inch strips, and they're 6 inch sheets of paper. So a 1/2 inch by 6 inches, and I have 4 of those. And actually, if you want to know where I got these were leftover strips from the 6 by 6 designer series paper that I used to cut out these 2 guys here. Then you also have a piece of 2 inches by 5 7/8. This is for our inside flap that's going to be for our drawer. And then just some cardstock for the front of our card. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And this is obviously 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. So those are our pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start with our base here. And I'm going to kind of move things out of the way until we need them. So obviously we're using a lot of different, we're using some different designer series paper for this particular card. So let's go ahead and take this, and we're just going to burnish those edges here. So this actually is going to make our nice fold. And then this is going to make our pocket here. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our pocket here, and then we'll glue in our booklet, and that's where we will actually, you know what, before we do that, let's go ahead and put those 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. So I am actually going to be using this side. They both are beautiful. Let me just show you. I really like them both. I'm kind of debating on what side to use. Maybe I'll use, no, that is, what do you guys, I'm pre-taping this, so I can't even get any suggestions. We are going to, let me just layer these on here and see what we get. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's bring in these right here. You know, okay, I'm going to use this side. I actually like it better. I do. That's not what I was planning. So if you guys, I love the sparkles. I really do. But I'm thinking I might like this other side a little better. So it's going to, the reason it's going to depend is because whatever piece we put on the outside, my glue is stuck here. So let's go ahead and use our adhesive. And oops, keep you guys on camera here. So this is a nice tight fit. So I really like that. It gives us a nice good layer. And if you wanted to, you could put a piece of like card, like chipboard or something on the back of this if you wanted it to be just a little thicker. But I have found in the one that I just showed you, it's very sturdy. So you can put that in your purse or bag and carry it wherever you go. And I don't know, but I am truly a paper gal, so I think I like that idea of kind of a keeping all your lists in one place. And one of the things I do is when I make out our Thanksgiving menu, I always have a tendency to write everything down on a Post-it note, and then I literally put it on the counter, and that is what I use throughout the 2 days when I'm in the kitchen baking. So I really do, that's why I kind of changed it from a mini legal pad to Post-it notes. I love Post-it notes. I don't know. Now I am using a punch, and I'm just going to cut out a little notch here. So this looks like a pocket. So again, you could use a die, whatever you choose. But in this case, I'm just going to use this punch. Make sure it's somewhere between the 2 here, and give it a good punch. There we go. Now I'm going to take my real fine tip. This is Tombow glue, just in one of these little bottles. And I'm going to take that and just run it right along the edge here on both sides. There we go. And just close that up. And now we'll have our pocket. So if you guys use this for different lists, your shopping list, you could put maybe a little gift card, or if you have maybe a coupon, or maybe some little advertisement and you wanted to stick it in there. Obviously, it's not holding anything major, right? But if you just have some little loose leaf piece of paper, you could pop it right in there and it will be ready to go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take our pad here, and we're just going to line it up. We just want to make sure it's in the right place for everything to fold up. So we're just going to set it down, fold it in, make sure that our measurements were correct. And just so you know, this right here is why you need that extra 1/8 of an inch. See how it kind of just has a little bit of a fold. If you don't, I just found it was hanging over. I tried it with just a straight 6 inches and it just didn't quite take. So now I'm going to, now you could use tear and tape. I'm just using the Stampin' Seal. You could also use the Stampin' Seal Plus maybe. I didn't find it necessary. All right, now we're going to go ahead, line this up on both sides, make sure it is in there correctly, and this can still fold. And there we have it. So we're just gonna, so you guys can see how easy this comes together. The only part, and it's not even complicated, it's just, you know, you got to really watch on the measurements going around. Okay, now we're going to take, and we're going to work on the front piece of our card. So if you remember, these are going to layer on top, and then we're going to actually pop it up on dimensionals. But right now we just want to decorate this piece here. So all I'm doing is taking these strips that I have, and I am just laying them across the paper. That's it. It's really just more of a background for when we're going to actually put, and I'm going to show you what else I have here. So I'm just going to line these up kind of at a diagonal. And then I have this Christmas tree that I'm going to pop up here. And before that, I'm going to just do a little zigzag of ribbon. And again, it's just to make it look a little festive here. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm just going to start with one of these. And actually, let's do it this way. I think I can do this. See where they're all going to line up. And then we'll just put a little teeny tick mark. I think we'll do that. I think I can. I don't know, maybe right there, I guess. Okay. And we're actually going to do tape. That's why I was kind of debating a little bit there. So we won't go quite all the way. There we go. And now we're just going to layer these right on next to each other. So that way we're covering the tape. Now you guys could just put glue on the back of each one of these. So there is absolutely no rhyme or reason. Oops, yikes. Let's pull that off there. All right, here we go. And maybe set it at a little bit of an angle, and then we'll put it down that way. There we go. And then we have one more. Now this last one, you can see I'm probably going to use just a little bit of glue here. There we go. And then we will pop that down. And there we have it. So this now is the front. We're going to go ahead and trim those edges right here. And again, you just take it right along the edge. Take your scissors right along the edge. I do find, I love the snips, but if you take a longer nosed pair of scissors, it makes it a little bit easier for you. All right, and now we're gonna take these and cut them right down. All right, there we go. Now we can go ahead and take this, and we are gonna pop it right on our piece of cardstock there. And we're actually going to do it this way because we're either going to put a greeting here or we're going to pop up a greeting. So I'm not quite sure yet. We will figure that out. All right, so let's go ahead. And again, you guys could stamp images. That's what I did on the other one. is just stamp an image. That works really well too. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're going to hold off putting the rest of this together until we take our book here and actually wrap now our belly band around it with our closure. So I'm going to move a few things out of the way here so that we can make, we're going to need that, make some room here. All right. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is we're going to take this and we need to make some score lines. Now, I want to tell you guys, you conceivably could take this and not do score lines. You could literally just wrap it around and then crease it. So don't feel like you have to make the score lines in this case, but we're going to go ahead. I wanted it to be a little more exact for all of you, and in case, you know, depending on what you would rather do. So first of all, I said it's 1.5 by 9 inches. So the first thing is I'm going to measure it down to 9 inches here. We're going to pop that right off. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and score. So I'm going to bring it down just a little bit here so you can see where our score lines are going to be. So our first score line is going to be 2 1/8. So remember, the first one is 16th, so this is an 1/8. So we're going to stop it right there and do 2 1/8. Oops. And then we're going to move it over to 2 1/2, and we're going to score again. Then we're going to move over to 6 3/4. So we're going to go all the way down here to 6 3/4, and we are going to score there. And then we are going to score at 7 inches and 8 inches. All right, and that is it. So the measurements are a little different. I think I went through this like literally 4 times to try to get it to line up nicely. And it took a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and burnish these just so we can get some good creases. And take our designer series paper here, and we're going to go ahead and adhere this down as well. Now you can see as I move this down, I'm going to need to line this up and kind of crease it. I found once I hit it here, it's better to do that rather than try to score it at another. So just lay it flat, wrap it around here, and then you'll see you'll get some good creases in your designer series paper as well. Okay, and that way it doesn't bubble up. Okay, so now we're going to take our booklet and we are going to start. Okay, so now we're going to work on making sure that our wrapper fits nicely, and it does. You want it to fit tight this way. This is going to be our closure here. So that's kind of how it's going to look right now. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and glue this down, making sure that we kind of bend as we go along. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just add glue or add your adhesive, whatever it might be, and add it just to a portion because we're not obviously gluing everything down. Okay, so we want to line that up, find our creases here, and make sure that our designer series paper, and I really do probably think if you can just start at the beginning here. Now you can also glue the green piece down. soft succulent piece down, and then you could just glue your wrapper that way too. Okay, so it's just totally whatever you prefer. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue this larger piece right here. And again, I'm just going to add some adhesive up to that point, and I'll go ahead and add it to that bend as well. All right, just lay that straight down, curve it there at the bend. Okay, now you guys can see this piece is longer because I forgot to cut it at 8 3/4. So I am literally just going to kind of follow that right at those dots, and there we go. So, okay, so now we're going to go ahead and glue the rest down here. And actually, you make sure. Yep. Yeah. We'll just glue this right down. I can hear our little doggies outside starting to bark there. All right. So there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crease because this piece is actually going to fold the opposite way. So there we go. And we'll just give those another good crease, and there we have it. So now we're ready to take this and put it around our book. So again, before you add this, just make sure you're going the right direction, and let's go ahead and add our adhesive right here. And we'll get that going right. Make sure it's right where you want it in the middle there. Make sure I am getting it in the middle or where I would like it. And that looks good. All right, there we go. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and put some here in the crease. And then, of course, just all along up to that score line. Okay, I don't want to go past. That next score line there, because obviously I want this to bend. You know, I don't want glue on my pages, right? So there you go. So we're just going to make sure that we get that right up to the edge, and that way this will stay nice and tight. All right, so there's our belly band. And again, when you do this, you're going to want the first one to curve in and then the next one to curve out, just like that. All right, now what we're ready to do is we are ready to put on our piece of our design here. Now this, you're going to need dimensionals popped up. So actually, before we do that, we'll go ahead and let's kind of finish decorating the front. And I thought I would put just some ribbon on here and then put the tree. So let's just see if that makes sense, or if it's going to be a little too maybe busy. Kind of hides, doesn't it? Okay, so you know what, we're just going to glue our tree right down on this. And then we'll make a sentiment and we will be good to go. All right, so here we go. Oops, I might need to fill this a little bit, huh? Okay, so there we have it. Pop that right down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over so we can kind of see where we want it centered top to bottom. And then we're going to put our dimensionals at the top, at the bottom, and then some right along here so that our closure really stays popped up. But we want to make sure is that we don't get anything in the way of this line right here. One of the things, if you have foam strips, those work wonderful. If you don't, take the edge of some of your glue dots and you can just use those, okay? You can just take these edge strips and they fit perfectly at the bottom there. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna take one at the bottom and we're gonna do another one here. And again, no one sees these, right? So we don't really care what they look like. I'm gonna flip it around and this one might be, yep, a little too long. So we'll put that right here. Okay, and now I'm gonna take just another edge here. And then we're gonna make sure I lay this where I want it. And then I'm going to put the set of glue dots right where it's, you know, fairly close, but not too terribly close there. And then we'll take the other one. So if that one is there, we're going to move the other one down here. There we have it. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and take these off and pop it around. Now I am going to look kind of sideways here so we see that yellow piece. So I just want to make sure when I place it that I've got it between those, which I do now. And now I just want to make sure I have it nice and centered on my front of my booklet there. And I'm going to turn it this way and it looks beautiful. There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out a circle here out of cardstock. And this I'm going to put right on top of this closure. So what's going to happen is it's going to pop right underneath there, just like that. Isn't that cool? And we're going to have to do a little trimming. But before that, I also want to pop out some designer series paper. And I don't think that this piece of gold works. I think I have to actually get a different one. So I want to show you where this comes from. It comes from this Festive Foils paper, and there is some red, and let me show you. Oops. Wrong side. You have red and gold, which is what we use, and this beautiful soft succulents. Well, we're going to use the same gold that we've used here, and I'm just going to actually leave this in here and do a quick punch right here. And there we have it. Move that off to the side. Now we're going to go ahead and glue these together, and then we're going to glue them on our card here. All right. And again, if you guys wanted, you could just stop, right? Just with the beautiful, just the notebook itself and not even do the wrapper. But this really, I think, looks pretty cool. So again, we want to bring this down so that when you put it in, this part is going to kind of line right up to the edge, okay? So you'll also see, so it's basically there's no space on those sides. So when you turn this over, you only want glue on this part of it right here and not past. Okay, so we're going to put this right here. Okay, so we're going to want to make sure it's lined up on those two sides. Now we're going to trim off this excess right here along the edge. So we're just going to cut that right off. Now conceivably you could just make this a half, like I think right now I have it cut at a 1/2 inch. You could just cut it at 8.5 and then you don't have to do this. But just in case, you might decide to not use a circle and use a square, and therefore you need a little bit more space. All right, so there we have it. So now we're going to test our mechanism, and there we go. Oops, I think I glued that down a little too far, but that's all right. There we go. So you would probably, I must have pushed it further down in. You just want it to go a little bit further up, but you can see it's not obviously impacting our closure there at all. All right, there you have it. We're going to go ahead and see if I brought in, I did not bring in a line for a greeting. So I think we're just going to call this good. But there you have it, guys. Isn't that cool? You open it up and you have this beautiful folder and a place to put all of your notes and your menus and everything you need. And there you have a nice little notebook with a closure on it. Let me bring in the other one that I showed you earlier. So there you go. So if you would like any other projects used in this, you can absolutely go to shop4seasonscrafts.com. You can also visit fourseasonscrafts.com, and I will have the measurements there as well. They should be in this video at the bottom when we went through those. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this little project and have a great weekend. Bye.